Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the panel for coming today. The United States has the technical ability to kill anyone, anywhere, anytime. But just because we can doesn't mean we should, and I think we don't have enough discussion about the practical ramifications of whether or not we kill more terrorists than we create. I think Yemen is a perfect example of this. We're supplying Saudis with bombs, refueling the planes, picking the targets. I assume that we didn't pick the target of a funeral procession, but we wounded 500 people and 140 people. I say we, the Saudis did it, but with our armaments. You think the Yemenis don't know where the bombs are coming from? We recently had a raid, and I don't blame our soldiers. I mean, I have members of my family who actively serve. They do what they're told. But we're the policymakers. I mean, we sent them into Yemen. I've still not been told why we went to Yemen. Someone's got to make a decision. Did we, in killing a few of the Al-Qaeda in that village, was that worth the fact that we had to kill women and children, or women and children were inadvertently killed in that, including an American citizen? So I guess my question to Dr. Rand is, do you think we're adequately weighing whether we're creating more terrorists than we kill, whether we're doing more good than we are doing harm, whether we are safer or more at risk? I think your testimony was at least reasoned in the sense that, will we be better off? Yes, we can take a new port in Yemen. We can do anything. But in the end, will we be safer or better off if we continue the way we're continuing? Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Let me address two parts of that question. It's an excellent question. On the issue of the CT raids, look, kinetic strikes are the way that this administration, the previous administration have fought the CT threat. The issue, as the ambassador mentioned, is the national security process that adjudicates and assesses and analyzes the costs. So the reputational costs, the public opinion costs, the policy costs, brings in the State Department, brings in the experts to really look through the military plan. So this sounds really wonky and bureaucratic, but it's really important that for this type of CT process, there's a real bureaucratic process in place. And I think that addresses some of the risks and trade-offs that you mentioned on the CT side. On the Houthi side, you're absolutely right. In IHL issues, there are strikes that are international humanitarian law. There are strikes that can be lawful in the sense that they're proportionate and discriminate, but they're not wise. And that's something that our targeters in Afghanistan learned when they were fighting a counterinsurgency. Generals McChrystal, Petraeus, et cetera. They learned that in fighting insurgents, you need to pick your targets really carefully because you're focusing on the hearts and minds.
And I'd like to follow up real quickly with one additional question. There are those who argue that in Syria, by getting involved in a Syrian civil war and pushing back Assad, that there was a vacuum created, and the vacuum was filled by ISIS. There are some who argue that the same could happen in Yemen. By getting involved in a civil war where we push one side or the other, that a vacuum will occur, and within that vacuum, Al-Qaeda may be strong enough to fill that vacuum. Do you think we're adequately, Dr. Rand, assessing the potential that we're doing more harm than good by being involved in this civil war, and that for some reason, it was said that the person that was a target in the Yemeni raid was actually fighting against the Houthis. So not really our ally, but also he was fighting the common enemy. Are we really adequately understanding that out of this mayhem that perhaps Al-Qaeda grows stronger?
Right, exactly. That's exactly the point. There are these two discrete battlefields. There's our fight against Al-Qaeda, and our partners are joining us in the fight, and then there's the internal Yemeni conflict. The problem is, if you're in Yemen on the ground, you can't differentiate always, and it's easy, as I said in my testimony, my written testimony, just to blame America. America's involved, and so in both cases, this is adding fuel to the fire, and that's why I respectfully disagree with my colleague about the value of a new offensive. We've already tried for 2 years the strategy of offensives to retake areas to allow for the political dynamics to change. And there are significant costs to our relationships, to the civilians of Yemen, to our reputation. We've tried that approach for 2 years, and I just don't believe that the risks are worth it anymore. Thank you.
Thank you.